Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video here on Marvel Strike Force. Now, have you been wondering why there is a vampire trait in Marvel Strike Force with 3 characters in the game? Well, you're going to find out a little bit about this because I have some news to bring to you all, the community, about the upcoming Crucible season, which is going to be featuring vampires and zombies. I also want to take a quick look at some of the stuff that they had around this the month of October regarding zombies versus vampires and things like that. And then we're going to go over all of the room rules to be expected, which I believe will be in about a week and a half. I think next week, if they're still having it, there should be a Envoy Crucible tournament. I think next week, and then on the weekend, I suppose. So not this weekend, but the weekend after, I think is the next season, because I know it's ending pretty soon. So I want to cover that and what to expect. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. But very quickly, because this is where they first had the shout out, right? And that's where I was wondering, like, what is this? So you might have remembered the blog post from maybe a week and a half ago now, just before Blade came out. There was ways that you could earn candy. And down here it said, there's a bullet point here. It said, upcoming vampires versus zombies event. Don't miss the hunger and the thirst dueling events. Now, to me, dueling can mean two things. Dueling is something that's running simultaneously. I think that's kind of what I would thought. The other dueling would be like literal, like PvP dueling. And at least in some of this, it does turn out that this is going to be the name of the upcoming Crucible season, or at least that's what this is. As far as the hunger and the thirst goes, this could be another, sort of mini event that's kind of running simultaneously along this, but it's going to be in like 2 weeks' time. So it's going to be towards the back half of October, maybe like week 4, that kind of thing. So it's going to be pretty late. I just wanted to kind of talk about that because I had a few questions. I had people asking me questions around this, and I kind of wanted to let you guys know now. So let's just jump on over to the room rules. I'm going to go into full screen mode. So the global rules. Now, what's interesting about this one is that it's actually called zombies versus vampires. So I don't know if that matters or if that's just a typo, or I don't know if the order matters. But on the blog, it was vampires versus zombies. Apparently, the season room rules are going to be called zombies versus vampires. And to start things off, so on offense and defense, Night Stalker characters gain plus 20% damage when attacking a character with bleed. Gain offense up. Now, this is going to be the vampires part of things, right? Night Stalkers is obviously, they're not all vampires, but it's the vampire team that we basically have, minus Morbius. Don't ask. Undying characters gain 20% max health when attacking a character with bleed. Gain defense up. So it's kind of the reverse of this, right? So they're kind of featuring both Undying and Night Stalkers, because you guys know that there has been the official reveal of Zombie Scarlet Witch. So you're gonna want to use both of these teams rather in Crucible for the next 6 weeks coming up. Because now I have no idea how Zombie Scarlet Witch is going to be unlocked. I have speculated that in previous videos that it could be paywalled. We know now officially, because of the Envoy releases, that pretty much everything I said was correct, more or less. And that what's interesting is she was a bio mystic character. That part I didn't know. I put just bio, but that's kind of neat. The dual traits, if you happen to get her unlocked, I guess maybe future events, that kind of thing. But we'll have to speak about this more when we know more about whether or not she's a completely paywalled character, or whether or not she is going to be available free to play in some regard. But we know that characters are 3-star unlocks, right? So now, anyways, so I don't know if she's going to be free to play available. On defense, all characters gain. This is the same text, I'm pretty sure, when it comes to Crucible in general, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's pretty normal. I'm not the foremost Crucible expert, but I do believe that that's usually there. So we have this sort of Night Stalkers versus Undying thing going on here. They get 20% more damage, Night Stalkers. Undying get 20% more health. And then when attacking character with bleed, offense up or defense up. So yeah, maybe Crucible experts can tell me whether or not that's a pretty big deal or not, or if that's going to make a big difference. Room number one. Now, these are not in any particular order. I don't actually know which one's room one, two, three, four, five, or six. It doesn't actually matter. These are the 6 room rules, though, and I just put them in this particular order. So, room one, this is something that we've had before. It's called Flashbang. With blind, lower that character's speed by 5% and armor by 25%, and then ultimate abilities apply blind to the primary target. So, to be honest, I actually forget how this worked, and maybe somebody can let me know in the comments down below because I wasn't completely paying attention, but I'm pretty sure it was like the primary target who gets hit by the ultimate, right? It's not like they get blinded, like the player gets blinded. I just honestly I forget because I don't think I was really paying that much attention on that Crucible season, which I think might have been like 3 seasons ago. But other than that, yeah, I guess it favors characters who use ultimates more frequently. That kind of thing. It's just one that we've had before. Next up is room number 2, rules of combat. Now I think this one is old as well. I think that they took 3 old ones and 3 new ones. So this one's villain characters on successful attack apply defense down to each target attacked. Hero characters on successful attack apply offense down. I remember using Infinity Watch in this room a while ago. I don't know how many seasons ago. I need to check out that MSF or that MSF counters.gg link. I know that they have like archives of old season rules, and I want to say it was at least 3 or 4 seasons ago for this one as well, because I had Infinity Watch in there because they had a mixture of hero and villain character, with Nebula being first would apply defense down. As far as who you would use here, I mean, things are completely changed. A mixed team would be, maybe Night Stalkers, right? Because of the global rules, maybe putting them on a defense here could be a thing as well. Moving on to room number 3, we have, this is new, Unholy Alliance. Unlimited X-Men count as Masters of Evil. And actually, I'm not sure if it's, no, I think, no, I should have, no, ignore that. I think it's just the one way. It's not both ways. Unlimited X-Men count as Masters of Evil, not Masters of Evil count as Unlimited X-Men. That's my bad. I don't know why I included that in there. So Unlimited X-Men count as Masters of Evil. Does this matter anymore? Because, so what I guess what that's suggesting is that you could use Kang with unlimited X-Men characters, but it wouldn't go both ways. So Masters of Evil are not unlimited X-Men. You would, however, get some of the trait. Like if you wanted to combine, why would you combine the two? I know that for my alt account that I use Kang with my Cabal because I never really fully built the Masters of Evil team. I didn't need to, like it was too far gone. And so I use Cabal with Kang on my alt account. Why would I combine Unlimited X-Men with Masters of Evil? This part I had a hard time understanding, but maybe some like I don't know, maybe someone else can comment down below about what good this could do and what combination of characters you might use in this scenario. Either way, that seems to be what we're getting. Room number 4, combat support. Now this one is new. On offense and defense, fortifier and healer characters. On hit, apply +1 vulnerability up to +20. Yes, this is crazy. So this is another one of those ISO room rules where you kind of need to swap your ISOs around. Striker characters. On hit, apply +3 vulnerable up to +20. And all other characters +2 up to +20. Okay, so there's a huge thing about vulnerabilities and having massive stacks of vulnerabilities, because down here, all characters when attacking gain +100% damage per vulnerable on the attacking character. That is a lot. So if there's a lot of vulnerables stacked up on that character, then it's going to do a lot of damage. Now, on end of turn, clear all vulnerables on this character. So that's interesting. I think what it's suggesting here actually, yeah, it's you. So you, the player, if you have a bunch of vulnerables on your side, you do a bunch of extra damage, and then you clear it afterwards. So you get like one hit, essentially, to do really big damage. And what this tells me is that you want to use slower characters. That's what I think anyways, that you need to use slower characters so that if they go first, they're applying the vulnerables to your characters first. And then on your turn, when you get your turn, that you would do a shit ton of damage because you'd have multiple stacks of vulnerabilities. The only thing about that would be like making sure that, you're not so slow that you don't get your turn. But characters who can maybe survive to get to their turn, maybe characters with like spawn, I don't know, immunity, safeguard, that kind of thing, that would just have lots of buffs on spawn, that they would survive to the next turn, and they would do some like a turn one AoE attack with this, potentially having tons of vulnerable stacks and doing tons of extra damage. This is really interesting, and I think this is probably going to be the main room of the season in terms of like, shit hitting the fan, because this sounds like it could be really brutal depending on what teams you put in here. And I haven't really thought about it too hard, and I'm sure that some people might later on. Now, room number 5, we have Raid on Crucible. We're going to come back to this. So you've already known this. We've had this before, and this is that the room counts as a raid. So you're basically going to be using raid teams and raid characters in here, but we're going to circle back to this after we've done room number 6, because I do have some thoughts on what you're going to want to use in here, and then lower resistance and healing by 50%. So keep an eye on this. Yes, the room, the raid Crucible room is coming back, but we have so many new teams and characters since then. Room number 6. Now this is going to be the Updog room. What's Updog? Healing. You've probably seen this if you've been on his Discord. Healing is reduced to 0. I think that's what it should have said. But all characters spawn with safeguard, immunity, and defense up. So that's pretty interesting, like a real wall. You could put like any, really strong team here, maybe a slower characters as well, because once they take their turn, the safeguard goes off, I'm pretty sure. So safeguard, immunity, and defense up on spawn. That's kind of like the Infinity Watch sort of dealio. And so that could be quite strong as well, depending on what you decide to go in there. But I really don't think it's going to be as powerful as combat support in room 4. So this one's going to be a pretty huge one. But like I said, I do want to circle back to room 5 here and what characters that we could be using in the game. Right, so I don't remember what teams were fully out when the Raid Crucible room hit the first time. I do know that there was things like Hive Mind, and Bifrost was still a thing, but I don't remember if Spider Society was fully like if they were available at that time. I don't know. However, I'm not 100% sure if I think a lot of people will use Spider Society in here, but I'm not sure if it's necessarily the best one anymore. They are very oppressive, when you fight them in raids as enemies, like in the Orcus raids right now, and they very well are going to be a go-to for a lot of people who have them, especially maxed out. It's going to be a very big thing. So I could definitely see this team being in there, but there's a lot of other raid teams that have been coming out, right? We have Alpha Flight. That's also a thing too. Now, what's interesting though about Alpha Flight, like they're really strong. They're actually probably better in raids than they are in war defense. So the fact that you can put them on Crucible defense and then also have them have their raid text active is very, very strong. One thing that I really want to note is North Star is going to be everywhere because of his passive. And if you're not aware of this, it is incredibly powerful. This set of text alone, which is the whole reason why people use Alpha Flight in the final boss nodes for Spotlight and for Orcus raid as well. In raids, enemy characters cannot fill speed bar for themselves or allies. This does not apply to blah, 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 blah. So he blocks, just by himself, blocks speed bar for every enemy. That's crazy, because all you need is him. You could plug and play North Star. Just take him out, put him on any team in the raid room, and he's going to block speed bar, which a lot of teams rely on. Spider Society, I'm pretty sure, relies on this as well. And so there's so many other sets of characters that we're going to talk about too, where you could just drag and drop North Star in there. Alpha Flight might be an okay defense team to put in there, but we're basically going to be stacking up a lot of these teams that starting with Spider Society, because they're the newest ones. So the next one that I want to talk about is Orcus, right? They're not fully out yet, but Orcus was kind of designed in the raids to beat not only mutants, but also Spider Society, right? Because once you have Nimrod, you start applying heal block to everyone on turn. I'm pretty sure it's down here somewhere. On successful attack by this character or any Orcus ally, apply heal block. They also apply Scientist Supreme applies trauma in raids, right? So I think that Orcus would be a direct counter to Spider Society in the raid room, which makes it sound like some of these newer teams might be better. So what would I think about doing? Maybe Orcus 4 with North Star, because North Star will then block the turn bar for everyone else, which is going to be absolutely insane. Even the sign, so this could be ended up being a mirror match kind of scenario, except for it's going to be North Star on defense, North Star on offense, and then we'll see what ends up happening and who wins, I guess. because I think that North Star's passive is so oppressive in raids that you're gonna have to use it. And that's actually why I recommended G19ing North Star for this current event with the Alpha Flight points, because I think we're going to see a lot of usage of North Star going forward due to the raid room rules. Orcus is a very powerful team. I'm probably leaning towards that because Night Stalkers just, while they are buffed in the global rules as we saw, they're just not really fully out yet, and I don't really know actually like how they stack up against the other characters and the other teams. So we know that Night Stalkers is supposed to be able to beat Spider Society, at least in PvP outside of raids. I don't know if they're also designed to beat them with the raid rooms active, and I honestly don't know how powerful this team really is because not all of them are out. We just recently had Oath released, and I don't have Oath at this time. And I don't know if they're also able to beat Orcus. So I'm not entirely sure who's the top dog here out of these teams that I brought up. We have Spider Society, we have Alpha Flight, we have Orcus, and we have Night Stalkers. And I think that those four teams, one of these four teams, are going to be the premier team in the raid room. That's just my thoughts. But out of all of this, you're going to want to use North Star because North Star's passive is just so crazy and it blocks so much stuff on his own that you're going to want to have him around. That's just my thoughts, anyways. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Those are the Crucible room rules that are going to be coming up. I imagine that you're going to hear it officially sometime next week, maybe earlier after this video goes out. But who knows? Just wanted to share this with you all and the community. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And of course, until next time, stay safe and healthy. I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.